The American Society of Magical Bad Movie Names, which I'm not going to read the end of it there, has already been pulled from the theaters. Just 3 weeks. It spent in theaters. It was an unbelievably divisive and racist movie that was racist to both black people and white people.
Really struck out all around.
My high praise for this movie is that I hated it less than Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. So that's saying something. But it was pulled from the theaters after only 3 weeks. It made a total of $2.4 million, only had a 28% on Rotten Tomatoes, and a budget estimated to be $15 million. I wasn't able to source that information. I never saw any approved budget for this film. But you have to wonder where, like, the racist passion projects that come out of Hollywood, they get a 3-week theatrical run. Like, I couldn't believe this movie went to theaters anyways. I assumed a movie like this would get made.
Who's behind this movie?
So it was a Focus Features film, and it was what is his name? Coey Libby, who's a first-time director but was also an actor, writer and director. And Justice Smith starred in it. It had David Allen. David Allen Greer is actually great. Like, he's actually probably the best part of the movie. Mm-hmm. It's just the premise of it is too racist to basically. Have you heard of this movie before?
No.
So the premise of this movie is it's a magical society of black people whose job it is to keep white people from feeling anxious or upset, because when white people get anxious or upset, bad things happen to minorities. That's the hook of the movie. And
rough, all around rough.
So it.
Who was excited about it? Was anybody like, wow? Was there like a premiere where they invited like specific types of influencers? Like,
I saw nobody happy about it. I saw a couple of positive reviews. One was actually pretty charitable and looked at it in a pretty fair lens. They interpreted it differently. Other ones, the few that I saw that were positive, really were just like, take that, white people. This is what you get. But if for only $2.4 million, what that tells me is that nobody came out to support it, right?
Yeah,
nobody
that's
went
rough.
to see it. So some people might want to believe that there's justice in the world, and in this case, there probably is, because it didn't get much of a play at all. Lorena Creole says, it was a crap movie with unnecessarily divisive title and extremely insulting to black people. She is right. And Dirty Deep said black people didn't even go to see it. Yeah, nobody wanted to go see something like this, because the theater is expensive, and we'll get into this more later, but it costs a lot of money to go see a movie these days. And the idea of going to see something that's going to put you in kind of a defensive position or an antagonistic position at all just doesn't seem all that exciting to me. And I don't imagine it did for anyone else because they didn't go see it.
I don't really understand who this is marketed towards, so it's very hard for me to understand. You know, you can't really do a crash course in what could they have done better, because it seems like they were mostly trying to play on the frustrations that, you know, black activists express, but also it is sort of pedantic and insulting. And so I don't, again, like, it is interesting to me that this is not just like a small indie film that came out at one film festival. Like, it seems like, but you said there's a studio that you recognize behind it.
Focus Films is a subsidiary of another, but you're right though. Like, the idea would be a lot of times for a film like this to get a wide theatrical release at all is a pretty big deal. And for the most part, I could actually imagine this movie getting made and then going straight to streaming. Like, a lot of movies that aren't big budget films go straight to streaming.
Right.
Now.
If this was buried on streaming and had developed like a weird cult interest group or was debated, I understand, but the fact that this was sort of rolled out publicly it's just weird to me. Again, I'm not an expert on this, but if you had a premiere, who would you even invite to it? It's like, you would have the cast, and then who is like, wow, I'm so excited. You know, even activist Hollywood, what there's not, they only like the obvious lines. There's not an obvious line on this movie. And maybe I should change my tune. Maybe I should get behind this because it just makes everyone unhappy, and therefore it makes you think. Like, I don't know.
What's funny is the number one critique I saw from most people was like, look, you could have just done Black Hogwarts and it would have made $500 million by not bringing up the racial element. Just cast the people you want and tell a unique story. And they didn't do that. They went for a social commentary mixed with like a love story in the middle. It's like a romantic comedy, and it's
doing too much.
Yes, it was too much. But have faith, people. The racist movie failed, and that's a good thing, because we don't want to encourage movies. Sadly, we went to this movie to review it, so like I was part of that.
And what was your take? Were you like, I feel like I've learned a lot, or
no? When I saw it, the number one take I had was that what I've learned is that if I go into a movie expecting the absolute worst, it like arms you against something being really, really bad. The reason why I was so upset with Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny was because I went into it with minimal to no hopes, but you have to actually go negative. You have to say, this is probably going to be the worst movie ever. And then if you think that way, everything is positive after that. This movie, I went into it thinking this is going to be the worst movie ever. By the time we left, I'm like, it made me laugh in places that I probably wasn't supposed to laugh. Which is, I suppose, a positive experience.
I just don't know. And has the director or any of the actors publicly comment on it?
Not that I saw, not in any big way. The number one thing that I took away from it was the point that I kept making was the problem with it is they make all of the characters that are racist or sexist, because that's actually part of it too. They make them huge caricatures, which is a problem. Hollywood used to be really good, actually, at doing storylines with characters that had bad characteristics, that had racist or bigoted or sexist tendencies, but they tended to wrap it inside a character that was an entire, like a whole person. So that was one aspect of this character. They have these other qualities you may find redeemable, and what that does is create a bigger world for this character where you can explore all aspects of who they are, not just the comical ones that you want to save for effect. And I go back and I watch so much old TV now, and I'm like, wow, it's unbelievable how well they did this character, because they don't play it as if it's the end of the world. They play it as a stain on this otherwise normal person's record, and then you can grow with them. You can grow and change them.
Interesting.
And that's better.
Yeah.
So there's
it's
a $20
not static. It's
exactly.
fluid, right?
And well, also, when you create a character that's that stereotypical, it's usually they can't grow, because everything will be like a duh light bulb moment that doesn't.
Oh,
feel
we have a
authentic.
$20 super chat. I apologize. I'm falling down on the job. The people's weenus.
Weenus.
Interesting. Have either of y'all seen the 2021 Macbeth movie with Denzel? I think that is an example of race swapping done right. No politics, just Shakespeare.
I haven't, but I did bring that up here the other day that he did do that. And that's the thing, right? The other thing is Denzel is Denzel, and people are going to give you a lot more leeway when you're an actor of the caliber of Denzel Washington.
My money gun is having a rough day.
It was having a rough day
here.
there
You
today.
okay? I have seen that one. And again, I think you're
you
right.
have?
It's just
Awesome.
And because I love Shakespeare, so if you want me to watch a movie, I have seen that one. I think it was really well done. And I think that there are lots of ways to take Shakespeare's classic plays and update them or shoot them through a different lane, that you could potentially have people of different races playing different characters. But I just think so often you can tell by the intentions of whoever is producing it that it is about proving a point that they are more welcoming and diverse and inclusive and whatever else, and that, like, it just, to me, kind of ruins it. I think it also takes away from the actors, right? Like, Denzel is a talented actor and probably was cast both because of who he is, but also because he could carry the role. And I think that there's a difference between, basically, like, I just would hate to be the affirmative action hire over here, being like, well, I don't know if I'm actually good, but I have the right skin tone. Like, that's very gross.
Somebody's very mad that we named the play and we didn't say the Scottish play. You're not supposed to do that. It's bad luck.
You can't tell me how to live my life.
Too bad.
Thanks for watching. Listen to full episodes of Pop Culture Crisis on Spotify.
Keep up with us on social media and make sure you subscribe and ring that bell so you never miss the show. Bye, guys.